guys, so this video is a little bit different. It is not nursing related, but it could be, I guess. So basically I've been on Wegovy for 6 months, and I just wanted to share a little bit of my journey and share some tips with you guys. If you're thinking about it, your doctor is thinking about prescribing it to you, or it's something you kind of want to explore with them. Now, before I get into the tips, I'll give you guys a little bit of a story about me. So I've pretty much have been like many people struggling with my weight since, I was a teenager. I was never really like big, but I was always like, maybe a little bit heavier than I needed to be. I'm only 5'1". And so, something I've always had is like breasts and, a booty, and it's something I've had since I was like 10. And so I've always carried like this extra weight, and I've always been really good about like gaining some weight and like losing it. And just recently I became my heaviest. A few years ago I had reached up to 200 pounds, and then like a year or two ago I had reached up to 211 pounds. And so last year I went to my PCP's office, and she's amazing, love her to death. She's a nurse practitioner, by the way. Awesome. And so I went up to her and I was like, hey, I'm really not happy with my weight. I'm working out 3 to 4 days a week. I don't eat fast food. I don't eat garbage. I was just like, I kind of like, I need some help. And she was like, oh, okay. She's like, I'm gonna refer you to our weight loss center if that's something you want to like go through it. And I was like, yes, I want to tackle this. I want to find out what I can do, because what I'm doing right now is not working. And so she's like, okay, it can take a few months for you to get an appointment. Why don't I prescribe you phentermine, and then we can go hopefully that you can lose some excess weight with that. And then by the time you go to the weight loss center, you've lost some weight, and you can go from there. So I was like, cool. This was like in March. So I did phentermine for a little bit. I lost about 10 to 11 pounds. However, I felt like a crackhead, and I was very tachycardic. So that was a no-go. I did it for about a month, maybe 2 months, and I was like, yeah, I can't be an absolute crackhead. I was like, I can't. It needs to stop. I was like, all right, this needs to stop. And so I told her I was stopping. And so, in my mind, I was like, oh, I lost 10 to 11 pounds. Cool. And then so the time came for me to meet with the endocrinologist and the dietitian. It was August of last year, so 2023. And I like basically went through like an in-depth history of just my weight loss journey with my endocrinologist. And she was like, okay, like she was like, do you eat fast food? I was like, no. She looked at like my labs were great, my blood pressure was great. It was just like I have a lot of visceral fat, and I'm overweight. Like my BMI is too high. I'm only 5'1". And so I told her like what my goals were and everything, and she was like, okay. She gave me like all these like suggestions for diet and exercise, and just like protein heavy, veggie heavy, get that protein and veggies in, and work out, do more. She placed emphasis on doing more strength training as opposed to cardio, and that works, by the way. And then she was like, okay, I'm going to prescribe you. You've probably heard about this medication before. I'm going to prescribe you Wegovy. And I was like, yeah, I've heard about it. And she was like, okay, well, here's what the medication does. It delays gastric emptying, so it makes you feel like you're fuller longer. And so I was like, cool, you know what? I know that I have a problem with overeating like delicious food. If I go to a restaurant, especially a really good restaurant, I'm eating all of that food on that plate. And so she was like, okay, like, well, we want to practice more mindful eating. You want to exercise, make sure you're getting your protein and veggies in, but I'm also going to give you this medication. And she explained it all to me, and I was like, cool, let's do it. And then right after that appointment, I met with the dietitian, and the dietitian homegirl went through an entire week's worth of like what I ate. And she's like, okay, she said, okay, you need to have more of this, more veggies, more protein, less carbs. This is very carb heavy, like things I enjoyed having that I didn't really like think about. She was like, let's do it. Let's let's add this stuff. And so I was like, cool. And she was like, okay, and you're being prescribed Wegovy. I was like, yep, being prescribed Wegovy. And at this time, I told both my endocrinologist and my dietitian that I had lost 10, 11 pounds. So they had my weight at like 190 or whatever, or like 200. And I was like, yeah, that's not so true anymore. Like the day after, I actually took my weight at work, and I was like, ooh, it was actually back to 210, 211. It was not 200 or anything like that. And so I actually ended up telling them that, you know, that I actually was 211 pounds, not 190, 195 like I was thinking. And so basically, I haven't had any shortage issues. I actually go where I work in my hospital. I get my medication through my hospital. Where I work is actually where I receive my care. So I've had like thankfully I've had no issues with any of the dosages. I just haven't had that issue. But on 0.25, I had pretty much no side effects. I did get like a little sleepy, but it was like the summer, and I would like spend my lunch breaks outside under the sun. It was just like my lunch is an hour long. Yay, outpatient nursing. Inpatient could never, unless you're in California, apparently. Whatever. And so and then like a little bit of acid reflux, and my endocrinologist was just like, you know, if that becomes a problem for you, let me know. We can prescribe you a PPI, you know, like omeprazole, and we can go from there. So you know, I shed like easy with 2.25. I shed like, it was like easily like the 10, 11 pounds that I had thought I like had remained, that I had thought that I like maintained from being prescribed phentermine. Like easily 10 to like, it was insane. It just like the weight just came off. And at this time I did add in a lot of protein. I added protein shakes, more veggies, you know, making sure veggies are like half of my plate. And then 0.5, I didn't have any like symptoms either. However, when I went to 1.0 milligrams, that's when shit started to get real. So with 1 milligram, I started to develop diarrhea. And mind you, I am a person who has IBS with diarrhea. So the fact that I was getting diarrhea, like extra diarrhea, was not cool with me. At this time, I had pretty much like gotten my IBS diarrhea under control with amitriptyline and with my Imodium, but it came with a vengeance. I couldn't drink protein shakes anymore. I couldn't drink like my homemade salad dressing that I made. It just came with a vengeance. And so I kind of just took more, instead of microdosing Imodium, I just took the recommended dosage of Imodium pretty much every day. And that like helped. And then I also, something that I did that really like thickened up my stools was, you know, protein shakes made like couldn't, for some reason they like, I started to develop diarrhea from them. So I started to add more fiber into my diet. You know, and I did that with Olipop. I love Olipop. They have really like helped me with my oral digestion. Like it doesn't stimulate my bowels, at least for me. So it actually like, for me, I feel like it helps bulk it up. So like just increasing my fiber intake, you know, taking the recommended dose of Imodium, and like still making sure that I get my protein in with like something like a Quest protein bar, which I love. They're delicious. And you know, I had stayed away from the protein shakes for a little bit, but with that combination, I was able to get my diarrhea under control, unless I had something like fried, like unless I had like fried food or something extremely sugary, I was not getting diarrhea. However, on Wegovy, you have to be very careful. If you want to have like fried food, or you want to have like food that's high in sugar, you need to be at home where you have access to a bathroom at all times. You can't go out into this world and think you're gonna have fun having those things, and think that you're not going to be, think that you're going to be safe, because no, you're not going to be safe. So yeah, for diarrhea, just like, you know, bulk up your stools with some Imodium. Well, slow down motility with some Imodium, but be careful with that, because remember, Wegovy is it delays gastric emptying, so you don't want to like delay it too much. I would say, just because I am a nurse and I know my body and I have a gastroenterologist, I know how to dose myself. So if you're going to use Imodium with this medication, just speak with your healthcare provider and go through it with them. And then to bulk up, just use something like increase your fiber and increase your protein, and you can do that with you know, Olipop, which I love, and then you know, protein like chicken, beef protein, stuff like that. All right. And so with the 1.0 and the 1.7, what I started to notice is that I would wake up the day after my injection, because I take my injection on Monday nights after I work out. And so I would wake up on Tuesdays or the day or like a couple of days after, and I would feel nauseous. Like I would feel like I had to throw up. It was terrible, terrible. And so I kind of figured out why that was happening. So with Wegovy, if you don't eat enough, you will have this, and you will feel nauseous. You will like just feel like you would feel like garbage. So you really have to get your calories in. Now, what those calories are is entirely going to be up to you and your doctor who prescribed it to you, and you know, your dietitian too. And so you have to get your nutrients in. I know this medication, sometimes you don't feel like eating, and you know, that's what the medication is supposed to do, but you have to, like, you're gonna have to force yourself to eat, because if you don't, you're gonna feel like garbage. So I noticed that, like, if I didn't eat a good amount of food, like if I didn't eat my carb, if I didn't eat my vegetables, if I didn't eat my protein, I didn't eat basically a good amount of my dinner, I was going to wake up the next day feeling sick. So now I learned that, so you know, just in case you still get nauseous, even if after you are getting food in, if you still wake up feeling nauseous, here's something that I like to do. You can get some saltine crackers, and just like as soon as you get up, before you even brush your teeth, just get some saltine crackers and shove them in your mouth. Just shove them in your mouth. Have a glass of water and down it. That instantly, once I started doing that, the nausea would go away. Now occasionally I would still get nauseous some random times at work, but that's just because I'm an idiot and I didn't really eat anything for breakfast, so that has to stop. But just know, with this medication, if you you know, don't eat enough, you're gonna get nauseous and you're gonna feel sick. You're gonna feel like hot garbage. So in order to, you know, if you wake up feeling like hot garbage, just have some saltine crackers, shove them down your throat, and be on your way, and you're gonna feel better. You know, if your nausea doesn't improve, there's always like Zofran that you can be prescribed to by your provider who prescribed you Wegovy. They can always give you some Zofran. So there is something out there that will help this. And then overall hydration wise, so my water goal was 64 ounces of water. And sometimes along with this medication, it makes me not want to eat, but it also sometimes makes me feel like makes me not want to like drink water. I'm not in a mood for it. And so at home, I have a water bottle that's this size. It's a hydro flask, and I'm not sure what size it is. It's a 32 ounces. So when I'm home, like on the weekends, you know, I try to drink, you know, 2 of these a day. And then my work day, I actually have, I'll link it down below. I actually have a 64 ounce, I believe, hydro jug that I love, love to drink. And so I don't want to have an overactive bladder. So what I do is I especially on my weekdays, my busy like clinic, what I do is first thing in the morning when I get there, I have a water bottle, the 64 ounce water bottle that like stays, hydro jug water bottle that stays in my office. It does not come home with me. I don't have time or the energy to move that. And so what I like to do is I fill that with two liquid IV hydration, peach, no sugar, sugar-free flavor hydration packets. And so that way I make sure I'm not just, drinking water, and I'm actually getting some electrolytes in there as well. And it actually tastes pretty delicious. So I like feel, it's like a little treat if you like a little sweetness without the sweetness. And so I'll actually link that below too, so you guys can take out their flavors. It is a little expensive, but I can say my urine is clear throughout the day, and I feel pretty damn well hydrated with that. And I will say, like, there are times where I was feeling nauseous, and the liquid IV has actually like helped me like come out of that nauseous state. So it's pretty awesome. And another tip I have is don't be afraid to speak to your provider about going down to your last tolerable dose. So for me, I got to like my last week of 1 milligram, and I was just like, I've had enough. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I was like, I didn't quite give up at that time. I was just like, whatever, I'll just go on to the 1.7, and I went to 1.7 and had like the worst bout of diarrhea of my life. It was terrible. You'd have thought I had hot Cheetos or something and like a ginger ale. It was the worst. It was the worst. And so what I did with that is I told my doctor, I was like, yeah, I'm not doing 1.7, not finishing that. I was like, I'm not doing 1 milligram either. I was like, I need to go down to 0.5. And she was awesome, and she put me down to 0.5. And things are good. So now I am back on 1.7 because I guess my body has really like, built up a tolerance for the symptoms. I don't get diarrhea nearly as much, but I'm so glad that I was able to do 0.5 again, and then, move up to 1.1 milligram again, and then do 1.7. So, yeah, do not be afraid, because, at the end of the day, this is your body, and you don't necessarily need to follow the the guidelines for this. If there's a dose that works for you and that you want to do, you have the right to ask your provider to just bring you back down. Now, there might be issues with insurance. Initially, I was very hesitant when I completed 0.5 again to go to 1 milligram. I was very hesitant, and my doctor was like, I was like, hey, if possible, can I do 0.5 again? And she was like, I can send it into your pharmacy, but I have no idea what your health insurance is gonna say. Let me know what they say. So unfortunately, they did not approve another go round of the 0.5. However, I started the 1 milligram and I was perfectly fine. So yeah, it all depends on your insurance too, but I know at least you should be able to get away with at least doing 1 dose over again, because this medications can be like pretty brutal, but it can also be pretty life-changing as well. I am, of course, nowhere near my goal weight, but you'll see some before and after pictures, and you can definitely like tell the difference in my face. Even if you watch some of my earlier videos, you can definitely tell the difference in my face and overall body, and it's pretty good. I feel good. I do cardio, a mix of cardio and weightlifting. I'm really mindful about what I eat and when I eat, and if there's one thing I can leave you with, is that remember that Wegovy is a tool. It's not like a magic like thing that just like controls you. It's just as a tool. You're not gonna magically lose weight just because you're doing this medication. That is a false narrative. You have to put in the work. You have to analyze your food, realize what you're putting in your body, and you have to get out there and get active. it's great. And you know, mindful eating is something that is still very challenging, but this medication makes it very easy to do that. I don't really think about food that often. You know, I eat when I'm hungry and I stop eating when I'm full. And so, you know, I don't plan on being on this medication for ever. I just want to do it till I can get down to like a healthy weight, and then, you know, get off of it and hopefully maintain it. But certainly there is a lot of controversy with this medication. Personally, I don't care. That's not my business. It has something to do with me. You know, I've seen an endocrinologist and a dietitian, and they both want me to be on this medication. So that's all the validation that I need. So yeah, that's pretty much it for how to handle Wegovy symptoms, you know, what it's been like for me. If you guys have any questions, just let me know. I can always do another video about, you know, a little bit more in depth about this journey. But I figured I'd make a quick little video about, you know, some symptoms I experienced and, you know, what you guys can do to help yourselves.